Good morning. How's your pickle? Good? We're watching a little bit of Finding Dory. She's eating a pickle. We'll see how long I can keep her distracted this morning. Look at my random hair right here. We're going to first do some journaling. The journal that I use is Soul Therapy. It's a 365-day journal for self-exploration, healing, and reflection. And then since we didn't get through the chapter yesterday, we will finish up on the Set Boundaries, Find Peace, A Guide to Reclaiming Yourself. So grab a pen and a paper, pencil and paper, whatever, and I will give you your journal prompt for the morning. Or you can type it on your phone, whatever. My daughter had to label it, of course. She put her name on there. She turned 7 yesterday, so it's kind of cute seeing her name in there. All right. The journal prompt for this morning is travel boosts brain health and also decreases a person's risk of heart attack and depression. Going to new and different places stimulates the brain. Where are some places you would like to travel to? Oh, this is a fun one. I have had on my bucket list since I saw the movie Eat, Pray, Love, Bali. I literally want to sell everything we own and just uproot and move to Bali because I don't know, it looks amazing. So the the journal prompt for this morning, if you need a pencil and a paper, grab it quick, is travel boosts brain health and also decreases a person's risk of heart attack and depression. Going to new and different places stimulates the brain. Where are some places you would like to travel to? I will give you until I'm done writing to be done, and then we'll move on to the next thing, okay? I'm pretty sure Eat, Pray, Love is a book, too. If you're just hopping on, let us know where you're watching from. We're just doing a journal entry, and then we'll move on to the book. All right, finish up. If you feel like sharing, let us know in the comments where some places are that you'd like to travel to. I put Bali, and then I did put Paris too. I'm a foodie, and everybody talks about how good the food is over there, so that's why I put Paris. All right. She seems occupied for now. She's very, very needy. She very much likes to have mom's full attention. She does not like when I read. She does not like when I am on my computer. So we'll see how far we can get. Hopefully we can finish the chapter today, but it's Set Boundaries, Find Peace, A Guide to Reclaiming Yourself. It's a New York Times bestseller. It's by Nedra Glover Tawwab. I don't know how to say her name, but we'll just pick up where we left off yesterday. Communication. Okay, we're talking about the 2 parts to setting boundaries. Communication. Verbally communicating your needs is step 1. People cannot accurately assume your boundaries based on your body language or unspoken expectations. When you explicitly state what you expect, there is little room for others to misinterpret what works for you. Assertive statements are the most effective way to do this. Verbally communicating your boundaries sounds like this. When we have a disagreement, I'd like you to use a lower tone and take a break if you feel like you're getting too heated in the argument. Also, I will mention when I'm becoming uncomfortable with your tone. It's important to me that you honor plans that we set up. If you need to change our plans, please send me a text a few hours before. Action. The process doesn't end with communication. You must uphold what you communicate through your behavior. Betting on the other person to read your mind is a recipe for an unhealthy relationship. Action is required. For instance, let's say you've told your friends, it's important to me that you honor your plans that we set up. If you need to change our plans, please send me a text a few hours before. Because you've verbally communicated your boundary, when it's violated, you need to reinforce it with action. In this case, you would let your friend know that you can't accommodate the changed plans because they didn't give you enough notice. You might say gently, I want to hang out with you, but my schedule won't allow for this adjustment. Let's set up a time to get together next week. It's hard, I know, but honoring the boundaries through action is the only way most people will understand that you're serious, which will help the people in your life become serious about your boundaries too. I knew you were going to do this. You eat your pickle and you watch Finding Dory, and Mommy read to you. Do you want my other book?
Yeah.
Yeah? Can I get you my other book?
Uh-huh.
Or do you want your books? There's some books in there. Here, hold this. I'll get you your books. Time out, guys. Sorry. Hold your pickle. Okay. Pickles for breakfast. Let's see. We got a sharky book in here and a fishy book. Yeah. You read your books and Mommy read her book, okay? Okay, what about that one? What about this one? This one?
No.
No? I'm going to bring it down here just in case.
No.
I know you like the big one. Thanks for the hearts. I told you guys she's very, very needy. Okay, here. All right, boundaries are for you and the other person. In my workshops, participants often share how they failed at communicating a boundary. Many people believe that once a limit is set, others will fall in line. Therefore, the person setting it doesn't take action after communicating it. But this lack of action invites continued violations in the relationship. You will have to put in the work to ensure that your boundaries are respected. It's your responsibility to follow through on it. The biggest fear around this work is how others will respond, so let's get prepared for how that might look. Common ways people respond when you share your boundaries. It's important to consider how people might respond, but don't get too fixated on their possible reaction. Common responses to boundaries are pushback, limit testing, ignoring, rationalizing and questioning, defensiveness, ghosting, silent treatment, acceptance. Pushback. It's typical for people to be resistant to changes in a relationship. It can be confusing at first. However, if someone respects you, they will respect these changes. We all grow and evolve, and our relationships must do the same. Pushback can happen at any time, immediately after you set a boundary or a while after, bless you, when the person decides to no longer honor it. Pushback is a manifestation of the fear that things will be different, of being pushed out of the comfort zone. Even though different doesn't mean bad, some people will struggle to deal with new terms in the relationship. Maybe after Kim tells her friend that she can't help her move, Kim's friend says, okay, as if she understands. Then the next day, Kim's friend says, are you sure you can't help me move? You're always the person who helps me. Pushback sounds like, well, I don't know if I can do that. This isn't fair. I have things I need to, but I'm not making you change. How to handle pushback. Acknowledge that you heard the person's concern. Restate the boundary you initially set. Examples. Thank you for letting me know. However, I'm proceeding with my request. I understand that you don't like my boundary, but I need to feel safe in my relationship. Having limits helps me feel safe. Your milk's coming. Limit testing. Kids do this a lot. It's part of forming independence when they are little, but adults do it too. They heard you, but they want to see how much you're willing to bend. Let's say Kim's friend tells her, I can't help you move. Kim tells her friend. Let's say Kim tells her friend, I can't help you move. Kim's friend then says, well, what about next week? Her friend is trying to see if Kim has any flexibility. If Kim says, okay, next week, she is sending a clear message to her friend that the boundary is flexible. Limit testing sounds like, I don't have to listen to you. I'll check with you again to see if you can help. How to handle limit testing. Be clear about the behavior you notice. Name it. You are testing my limits. Express how testing your boundaries makes you feel. When you don't respect my boundaries, I feel ... Then restate it. Explaining your boundary leaves room for people to object to your needs. In our attempts to make others feel comfortable, we might be persuaded out of setting healthy limits. Do your best to name your boundary without offering an explanation so that you aren't talked out of it. Ignoring. People ignore boundaries as a passive-aggressive way of pretending they didn't hear them, but boundaries should be respected. When people ignore the requests, resentment builds. Over time, this erodes respect in the relationship. Kim says, I won't be able to help you move. 2 days later, Kim's friend says, when can you help me move this weekend? Kim has a few options here. Restate her boundary, go with the flow by helping her friend, or not show up to assist with moving. Assertively, Kim could state, I mentioned 2 days ago that I wouldn't be able to help you move. If she's too scared to restate her boundary, she'll likely end up helping her friend move, and her friend will likely ignore the next one Kim tries to set. Ignoring boundaries looks like, that's not the page that I'm on. Doing what they want despite your boundary, that's not the page I'm on. Acting as if your boundary was misunderstood. How to handle ignoring. Restate your boundary. Request that the other person repeat back what you stated. Stress the importance of the change moving forward. I need this in future situations as well. React to ignoring immediately after you notice the issue. If not, the boundary will disappear. Rationalizing and questioning. Since you accepted behaviors in the past that you now deem inappropriate, people will react by asking questions as a way to rationalize their behavior and as unproblematic. In this scenario, Kim's friend responds with probing questions. Why can't you help me move? I would help you move. Questions like these are hard to answer. It's tempting to start offering excuses or apologies, but it isn't helpful to say you're sorry about setting a boundary. Remember that people benefit from you not having limits. You have to look out for yourself. No excuses required. People may question your shift when you've done things that you are no longer willing to do. It's okay to let them know that you've changed your mind or that the arrangement no longer works for you. Rationalizing or questioning sounds like, why are you asking me to change? What's the point of doing things differently now? How to handle rationalizing or questioning. Be careful not to explain yourself. Keep your response short by saying something like, this is what's healthy for me. Saying too much will put you back in a back and forth negotiation. I feel like I'm super guilty of that, explaining too much. Defensiveness. This happens when people feel attacked. Being clear in our wording helps minimize defensiveness. However, some people will respond defensively no matter how you state your expectations and desires. Defensively, people will turn the issues on you because they don't want to be at fault. That's my husband. In this situation, Kim's friend answers, it's not like I move all the time, but fine if you don't want to help me. Defensive people aren't listening while you're talking. They're personalizing what you say and crafting a response. Their response has much more to do with them than it does with you. They are focused on only getting their needs met and resisting any changes in your dynamic. But healthy relationships are not one-sided. Hold on, let me move it to this side. Healthy relationships are not one-sided. I totally lost where we went. The needs of both individuals are equally important. Sorry, you guys get like a close-up view. Let me scoot you. Better. All right. Turning your requests. Okay, defensiveness looks like turning your request around by making a request of you, explaining why they did something, accusing you of attacking them, bringing up what you've done in the past as a point of reference for your request. How to talk to people when they're being defensive. Make it about yourself, not them. Use I statements. Hi. Talk about one issue at a time. Don't talk about old issues with this person while stating your boundary. Use feeling words such as when you blank, I feel blank. Say something in the moment or soon after. Don't let issues fester for days, weeks, or months. I feel like that's hard because the more time I have to sit and like think about the conversation, the more like I have that I want to say about it, or I look back on it and think I wish I would have said that instead of this. So that part's hard for me. Okay, know your audience. If you can't talk in person, text or email your thoughts. Truly, some conversations are best had in person, but when you feel you won't be able to set the boundary face-to-face, set it by any means necessary. Ghosting. Ending things without explanation or disappearing is often called ghosting. That's me. And is an unhealthy response to boundaries. Guilty. Okay, people who are passive-aggressive use this response. Rather than stating their objection, they try to show you how they feel through their actions. Ghosting happens right away or a few days after you have made your wishes known. It's generally a form of punishment. For example, Kim says, I won't be able to help you this weekend. Later that week, Kim texts her friends and several times to check in or say hello, as she usually does, and her friend doesn't respond. Kim is sure that her friend is receiving the messages because she sees the red receipt marking them as read. Ghosting looks like not answering calls or texts, canceling plans, thanks for the follow, keeping in touch with mutual friends or contacts but leaving you out. How to handle ghosting. Send a precise text message or email mentioning the behavior you're noticing. People are likely to respond because they don't want to seem upset when they are. Expressing how the ghosting is making you feel and the concerns you have about the relationship. If receiving a response takes a few days, be clear to restate how the ghosting makes you feel. If you don't receive a response, remind yourself that their reaction was not about you. It was about their interpretation of the situation. Silent treatment. Let's do this one and then we'll move to the other one. This response is less extreme than ghosting, but still painful. It's also passive-aggressive and a form of punishing you for trying to set the boundary. This person will be noticeably distant. Are you coloring? After you assert your need. If you try to talk to them, they will offer short responses like yes or no. It's lonely and confusing to be the receiver of the silent treatment. The other person is present, but not really. If Kim's friend used the silent treatment, it would go like this. Kim sees her friend the following week for a previously scheduled lunch date, and her friend isn't acting like her usual self. She's quiet and seems preoccupied. Kim tries engaging her friend in conversation, but her friend answers with one-word responses. Silent treatment looks like going hours or days without talking, providing short responses to questions to passive-aggressively express upset. How to handle the silent treatment. Verbalize what you notice. You seem upset. Can we talk about what I said to you? Be clear about what you perceive to be the issue. Challenge the behavior of the other person. Perhaps offer feedback about why you set the boundary. I was overwhelmed and unable to add another thing to an already full plate. Okay, I like this book, but not as much as the other one. So we're going to jump into the other one. It's called Inner Child Recovery Work with Radical Self-Compassion. It's by Dawn Barlow. Our coloring? And we're on chapter 3. Is your hurt inner child affecting your relationships? The focus of this chapter is understanding the signs that the hurt of your inner child is causing setbacks for your relationships. This inner child is always afraid. It's caught in that time while it was so psychologically wounded that it did not even know what to do. It will follow us from one relationship to another until we achieve the strength in ourselves to restore and heal this child. Would you like to let go of the old and take control of your future? Give your inner child the ability to heal instead of bringing it from one relationship to the other. The inner child exists for a lifetime. There is always lots of discussion concerning the inner child whenever it comes to individual development, as well as self-healing. However, much of the discussion revolves around a mistaken idea. We can't just acknowledge or move on from our inner child. That is not the case. The inner self is a wounded but joyful aspect of our true selves. We must include it in our life, not only a single time, but throughout the duration of our trip. Do you want this one now? You can have this one now. Okay. Your inner child waits patiently for resolution and for peace. What is the status of your romantic relationship? Have you had a series of lovers that you have unconditionally loved and respected, or is your recent relationship characterized by volatility, and pain? Our relationships can become toxic and stagnant if we carry our shattered inner child together with us. Our inner child is patiently waiting for peace and resolution. You will notice a difference in your life when you can achieve this. How inner children wreck our relationships. Is the inner child causing you problems in your current relationships? The inner child is often hidden behind it all. When you live in a perpetual state of conflict, destructive behavior, and toxic manipulation. You're such a good helper. Oh, I know. What's your fishies doing on TV? What are your fishies doing? You want me to be done? Yeah. Okay. We're going to be done for today. I might get on later. What do you want to do now?
Daddy.
Well, Daddy's working.
Daddy.
Daddy's working. Daddy's working. Oh, you want to color on that one?
Mommy.
Well, you can't color on the other ones. Oh, you're helping? Oh, you're so strong. Should we put them over here? Yeah, okay. All right, guys, we're going to hop off. We may be on later.